Welcome to Boombastic Health, where we challenge the business of healthcare and explore bold ideas that drive meaningful change.
All right, good morning. Another edition live at ViVE with Boombastic Health. It's Tuesday. I have the pleasure of sitting with Ed Flores, VP of Business Development at Teleperformance. So Ed, thanks for joining us today. And
Thank you.
Teleperformance is a global customer experience and business services firm that supports healthcare organizations and member services, engagement, and back office operations. And I know you guys are here in the diagnostic zone.
Yep.
Right next door to us. So you've been seeing all the activity as we have with your booth as well. It's been super busy for both of us, which is fantastic. So tell us, what you guys are doing, and we'll start there.
Yeah. So it's been great so far. Like you said, there's been a lot of activity. You guys got a lot of people coming in and out, and so we're lucky we're getting a little bit of that overflow too, right? So it's been good. So this is the second year that we've done ViVE, and we've been able to kind of take away some really good stuff from it this year, make some good contacts. So it's been really great. The reason why we're here is to kind of talk a little bit about our initiatives around AI, kind of like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
It's all over the place, and kind of our approach to it, and what we're doing from our standpoint. Kind of trying to combine that human element of what we do in healthcare, plus AI to help drive results, help drive efficiencies, and help optimize workflows throughout the process and engagement with patients.
Awesome. So we refer to that here as human in the loop.
Yep.
Right. Which is, with agentic AI, it's not just about replacing, but augmenting, right? In many instances, what can be done through healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe run me through a specific example of kind of how you, through the agentic platform you guys have with that human engagement, how you are manifesting that.
So what we're doing is, so with some of our patient programs, or some of our member engagement programs, we, and I'll use like scheduling as a great example, right? So we do a lot of scheduling work, and our approach to it is kind of behind the scenes to the patient, right? It's all seamless. It's all about patient, all about agent assist. So as they're walking through the patient journey with that patient, they are literally having their hand held, by our AI tools, our AI agent assist tools. So they're getting real-time information. They're getting real-time analytics. They're getting real-time coaching and QA. They're getting real-time sentiment analysis, so they can see where the call is going, right? If they're talking to, an oncology patient that they're scheduling, they can hear, they can kind of sense that fear in their voice, right? A little bit of uneasiness. So they know how to direct the call. So those are things that the patient doesn't necessarily see, but they're benefiting from tremendously to make that patient journey a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more, efficient and successful.
Yeah, I think what's amazing with agentic AI in particular is the ability to listen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the ambient opportunities that we haven't had in technology before, at a mass scale.
Right.
So maybe walk me through, a couple. You mentioned the oncology instance. What about some other examples of where the platform or the agent can actually hear that and make a decision real time based on the information that's coming in?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So you're absolutely right. So in the background, our assist tool is listening, and it's not only listening, but it's learning your workflows. Learning your workflows, it accesses your knowledge base real time and learns your knowledge base real time. So they're getting direct feedback, within that call real time. They're getting best next steps. So they're getting decision-making power right there, right on the phone, which was not the case before, right? You'd have to put somebody on hold. You'd have to, step away from the call because they didn't have the answer right there at their fingertips. They'd look it up through a manual knowledge base. Even if it was an automated knowledge base, it still was a little bit of a lag. So I think that's been the difference now, and that's kind of a huge game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think about, at scale and just, here in particular at ViVE and many of the conferences, especially this season, payers, providers, a lot of those kind of, at the care side delivery or responsible for paying for that care. It's a challenge. Typically healthcare has been latent, slow adopters for especially new technology. So we're starting to see a little bit of a shift. So how do you, when you think about the cycle of working with providers and payers, what's kind of your mindset when you talk to them about new technology?
Well, it just in our experience, you know that it's going to be a challenge because you hit the nail on the head, right? Healthcare has always been a little bit slow to adapt, especially when you look at, the provider side, right? There's always that fear of, we're risking our patient population here, right? And you're dealing with handling lives. So, that is a challenge. For us, I think we have the advantage of taking that approach of the human in the loop.
Yeah.
Right. So we still have that, and we can make that gradual shift to technology and to AI. Right. So that's kind of the approach that we've taken, and we've had some success with it. We're starting to see more success with it. But I think as organizations and healthcare organizations are starting to come to the realization that this is all kind of here to stay, right? And they're facing shortages with staffing and things like that, and not only just hiring good people, but being able to keep those good people.
Right.
So it becomes more challenging for them. So they understand that that this is the way the world is going, and that they're eventually going to have to get on board.
Right.
And we're just going to help them try and transition to that.
Great. I think, it's has to work both ways, right? There has to be change to affect change, but there also have to be folks who need to adapt to that change.
Right.
But it's great to see that, orgs, like Teleperformance is kind of being a part of that. So when you think about, what's new here that has surprised you so far, what's intrigued you, what are some of the kind of the hot topics?
So I would say that again, like I said before, right, there is AI everywhere. Everybody's got is promoting AI tools in some way, shape, or form. I would say the number of versus last year, the number of the number of vendors here that are promoting full autonomous AI agents is probably at least tripled from last year. So that's one takeaway that kind of surprised me a little bit, but not so much, right? And and we also are moving towards that direction too, while still keeping that human in the loop.
Yeah. As we kind of think about wrapping up here, there, especially here at ViVE, IT security and interoperability are such big themes.
Yep.
How do you think about it? How does it become just pertinent to what you're doing?
It's a huge aspect in what we do, right? It's a major focus for us. It always has been, even before AI. We've always gone over the top, with security, both internally and for external clients. So all of our AI tools are fully HIPAA compliant. They are government grade, secure. So it's one of those things where we always go above and over to make sure that we're providing the best security, and we have our clients' best interests in mind.
Good. Well, I know your light went out, so that's not an indication at all. But I think maybe to wrap up here, we are in the diagnostic zone. You guys are here in the diagnostic zone. So tell me, or give me, some examples of really your interest in the diagnostics area.
So really our interests, stem from, I don't know, people know about GP from a clinical standpoint. We've developed initiatives. We have a nursing academy in the Philippines.
Okay.
That we manage and have U.S. certified nurses for support with DME companies, for support with utilization management, for support with telehealth programs. And so those are kind of the things that's kind of the next iteration of where we want to go.
Well, definitely have our support. I mean, we obviously are in the belief that diagnostics is a critical component for enabling all this to happen real time. So thanks, Ed, for joining us today.
Thanks a lot.